right? Look at the Indonesia is stretching all the way to here and here. It's like really close. It's like Myanmar is there, UK, Sri Lanka is there. Okay, there's a big gap, but still. But then it's like touching all the way to Australia. Ladies and gents, welcome to UX, and this is Indonesia could be Asia's most strategic country. Here is why. Yeah, this is by the channel Kamome. Kamome. I don't know. Kamome? Which language is that? I don't know. So, alright. So, Indonesia could be, yeah, makes sense, I guess, the way it's situated, at the Indian Ocean, how it's near like Japan. There is a reason why, it's so big. I don't know, like Philippines might be one of the strategic one as well, right? So there's a reason why China is trying to dominate that area, because this Indonesia is like spread really out. Like there are islands and there's mainland, Jakarta and everything, right? So yeah, this is gonna be interesting because I don't know much about Indonesia and its military prowess and how it's geopolitically doing there. I know Indonesia and India has better relations. I don't know, but it's gonna be interesting. Let's do this one.
The Indo-Pacific has become the single most geopolitically relevant region in the world. Heavy and middleweight global players like the US, China, India, and Japan sit at its fringes, making this region central in their security policies. Perhaps
See, this is why, like, it's kind of like South China Sea. Why not Japan Sea? Whatever you want to call it. Yeah, Indonesia is really like a buffer type of thing, right? If you see globe, like you really see the perspective. 2D map, you don't see perspective. Now look at that, like this, like Indian Ocean is like empty below India, but like the more you go towards like China, Japan, right, trying to get into Pacific, how this like a buffer thing, right? Like so, yeah, Indonesia is important.
Most critical area in this region is Southeast Asia. At its political and geographical core is arguably the most strategic country on Earth. Indonesia, the country at the center of the Indo-Pacific region.
Look at that shit.
Three main
They ask somebody, what is Indonesia? Pick up. Even if they know, they'll say, oh, is this Indonesia? Or is this Indonesia? All of it is Indonesia.
reasons explain the Southeast Asian nation's strategic emergence.
Look at that shit. Okay, all the way here, Papa. It's touching Australia. Are you kidding me? People have this like, okay, this like illusion. I don't know how to say it, but like when people think of Australia, they think of like, okay, really, really like southern and like close to Antarctica shore. It's like really down there. But nobody knows. Like, it's literally touching like Indonesia. Near Papua New Guinea. There you go. That's Papua New Guinea, I think, right? Look at the Indonesia is stretching all the way to here and here. It's like really close. It's like Myanmar is there, UK, Sri Lanka is there. Okay, there's a big gap, but still. But then it's like touching all the way to Australia.
First, the centrality of Indonesia in the global sea routes. Second, the diplomatic importance of Southeast Asia in global power balance and the US-China rivalry. And third, the military potential of Indonesia.
A lot of people.
Southeast Asia is not only a geopolitical hub, but also a major gateway for the Europe-Asia undersea internet cables, like the Seamiwi 3, connecting South Korea to Belgium. Most countries are in fact connected.
What the fuck? Isn't Indonesia like a scary place because of tectonic plates? There are too many volcanoes there. There's a risk there all the time. Like, like there's also like hurricane and all that. I'm pretty sure I remember watching some videos of like, is it real life lore? I don't know. Old real life lore video when he used to do that. Non-geopolitics video. It's like, I'm pretty sure like that tectonic plates here, like it causes like volcanic, like activities. Like there are like cyclones that happen for whatever. Yeah, this Indonesia is like really troubled place, storm-wise or like natural disaster-wise, right? All these cables, like, okay, but then again, like maybe it's gonna be fine, right? And if it's not fine, you'll install it again type of shit, I don't know.
To the internet via multiple sea cables, as these offer better protection to disruptions and tapping than land-based ones. These are critical pieces of infrastructure,
but tectonic
and they're
plates,
therefore thoroughly secured. Just like whole nations, people need to make sure their own lines of communication.
Man, I love this video already. I love this guy, how he's explaining. Look at that. Like, this is so awesome. Pacific is so insane. Look at
Just
that.
like whole nations, people.
Oh, look at that. Shit is empty. Look at that. You can't see that in 2D map, but it like, And every land disappeared. And imagine some guy here. I mean, there are islands there, but imagine somebody in a ship just stranded there. Oh my god. And the stars will look so good because probably no pollution there.
Make sure their own lines of communication are secure. And Atlas VPN provides powerful tools to make your browsing both safer and more enjoyable.
This better not be
Atlas
just...
VPN is now offering...
You did not just show me all that just for ad. No, you didn't. Like, that's part of it, obviously. Now it's ad. But that was like a smooth transition.
our viewers an 82% discount for one of the best VPN deals around at just $199 per month for their 3-year plan. With the added benefit of a 30-day money-back guarantee, you can protect an unlimited amount of devices and be covered by the added benefit of Atlas VPN's ad and malware blocker. Being a total gearhead myself, I love watching the guys over at Top Gear, which, thanks to Atlas VPN, is available pronto on Netflix UK.
I mean, I don't watch Top Gear anymore because I know scene by scene every single episode from season 1 to season 22. There is nothing. Top Gear stopped after season 22, by the way. There was no season 23.
Some say that even the Stig uses Atlas VPN and that he is a Korean Netflix habitué. All we know is that you can not only watch
Stig
your
is
favorite
internet.
Korean dramas, like the Stig, but you can also use your VPN to get some great deals, like on flight tickets, hotel bookings, and even your online shopping. Atlas VPN is offering an 82% discount to our viewers, now just $199 per month for their 3-year plan. This offer is for a limited time, so secure this deal by clicking the link in the description box below. And now, back to the video. So why is Indonesia such a global geopolitical hub? And what does this mean for the future? Well, the first simple answer to these questions is, as always, geography. Indonesia is the world's largest archipelagic nation, formed from over 16,000 islands, spread over an area of more than 3 million square miles. Indonesia is comprised of only 5 main islands: Sumatra, Java, majority of Borneo, Sulawesi,
I knew it's geography now. It's one of the videos I watched. Okay, yeah, that makes it like I forgot about that one. Damn, what happened to that channel?
and half of Papua. It is a surprisingly huge country, extending across 3 time zones for over 3,000 miles, around the same distance
Anyway, Papua New Guinea is 2 separate things. Papua is part of Indonesia. Okay.
from New York City to Lisbon. Its land borders
3,000
are with
miles.
Malaysia, Papua New Guinea, and East Timor. Other neighboring countries include Singapore, the Philippines, Australia, and India's Andaman and Nicobar Islands.
Oh shit!
The country-
I forgot about Andaman Nicobar. So even India touches it, kinda. This is like Russia, where Russia touches everything. Look at that, it touches India, it touches Australia, fuck, it touches like like Japan and all that. Yeah, China is just there, like Myanmar and all. No, China's not there, but yeah, still. Look at all that shit. Australia's just there. This is so Indonesia is so awesome, man. The way it's landscape, right?
Country is also the 4th most populous nation on Earth, with over 270 million citizens, around 150
What? Oh yeah, first India. I was about to say China, but that's an information of old. India, most populous country in the world, isn't that something to be like proud of? It's not. India, then China, basically it's kind of same. Then United States, right? 300 plus million, and then Indonesia.
of which live on Java, the most populated island in the world. The sinking capital, Jakarta,
Look at it. Look at it. This is how Jakarta looks. Oh, hold up there. I remember watching some clip from Asmo Gold because I was just browsing. It just popped up. And he was going through like Google Maps. And he was just clicking on, oh, Jakarta. Is everything looks shit? And he was just looking at some alleys and some roads. He's like, oh, Jakarta doesn't look good. I'm like, really? Yeah, that was surprising. This is how it looks. Look at those fucking skyscrapers. This tells you don't just click on some random location and think like it doesn't look better. I don't think there is a city in India that looks getting close to good as that. Like Mumbai doesn't close. Mumbai is good, but not at that level. Some area kind of compared to this. Look at this shit.
accounts itself for around 10 million residents. Indonesia's size and makeup present some unique challenges, which we will be talking about later. But for now, we need to ask, how does this nature shape Indonesia's strategic value? Indonesia's first strategic value lies in its central position in global sea trade route.
By the way, very real life lore-ish scripting. I can already feel it.
Specifically, its choke points act as gateways, connecting
Yeah, I
and
said that.
potentially shutting the access between
makes
Indian
sense.
and Pacific Oceans. The majority of the trade traveling between the Indian and Pacific Oceans passes partially or fully through Indonesia's territorial waters. This strategic value is only compounded by the many choke points that lie at the entrance and exit of these critical waterways. It seems
Wait a minute, why is China bullying Philippines then? This is... Hello. I think sounds good, right? I don't know what the fuck is with my interface, man. Sometimes it just lowers the gain. SSL2 sucks, man. It's the costliest one I could have found and it sucks. Alright, seriously, man. Look at that. This whole thing, like, why is China bullying Philippines then? Do they have good relations with Indonesia? Because that's the actual threat they have. If Indonesia cuts you off, like, they have to use Pacific after that.
seems that no matter what it is or where it is traveling, all goods are eventually forced through Indonesia's 4 major choke points at some point in their life cycle. Routes starting at the oil-rich Persian Gulf or destined for Europe are funneled through the Malacca Strait. Those between Asia and Africa typically sail through the Sunda Strait, while deep draft tankers and bulk carriers prefer the deeper waterways of the Lombok and Ombai-Wetar Straits. It has been estimated that around 50% of global trade by tonnage passes through these sea.
I mean, you could kind of go from Australia, turn around from Papua New Guinea and like take the long route. That's something, I guess. I don't know. If Indonesia suddenly decide that Lord of the Rings say, you shall not pass.
lanes each year. And for some resources, this dependence is only amplified. For example, it is estimated that 80% of China's oil imports pass through the Malacca Strait,
Damn.
and that figure rises up to 90% for Japan and South Korea. As Asia's markets continue to develop and their role in the international trade route continues to boom, Indonesia's strategic role over the world's maritime trade is only set to grow. However, 2 main threats hang over these stretches of water, which actually bolster Indonesia's influence as it is encouraged to take an increasingly active role in policing them. First, these straits are vulnerable to active blockage and piracy. Second, these
Piracy?
waterways are already struggling with congestion, which may only escalate in the future as trade volumes and the size of ships that service them
What do you mean piracy? Can't Indonesia govern those areas? I guess it's too big to govern. I don't know.
continue to grow. Strict safety regulations and continuous trans-regional police controls have kept these stretches of water relatively safe and accessible to this point. However, with a forecasted rise in the domestic consumption of goods and resources in all Asian nations in the upcoming decades, increasing trade is presumably the most critical challenge for these straits. Currently, the Malacca Strait is one of the most important choke points on Earth. Around 10,000 ships pass through the strait every year, but its
Yikes.
relatively shallow
This is insane, man. How big it is, though, right? Like, is it like that Egypt one? No. Yeah, is it like Egypt one? Suez Canal, right? Is it? Yeah, it's Suez Canal. Is it like that? It's very narrow, where something can get stuck, or is it like larger? Does Indonesia charge money? Because they're better. If they're not, like it's like why would you not? It's like China's 80% of things goes from here. Like you better make money if that's the case.
waters place a natural limit on the size of vessels that can use it. For
82
larger
feet.
vessels, the only alternatives to the Malacca
That's not that
Strait
big, right?
are also all choke points in Indonesia's territorial waters. The closest is the Sunda Strait, sitting between the islands of Sumatra and Java. This stretch of water, which itself is only around 15 miles wide and 50 miles long, already services an average of 3,500 ships, transporting around 15 million metric tons
This is
of
very
cargo
wide,
per
though.
year. A more popular choice for the largest vessels is the Lombok Strait. With an average depth of 150 meters and 11 miles of width at its narrowest, this
I
route offers a
mean,
far safer alternative to
yeah,
the large
obviously, straight.
tankers
Look at
and
that.
bulk carriers. For this reason, it is the second most popular of these choke points, with an average of 3,900 ships annually transporting around 140 million metric tons of goods per year, at a combined
Miles
value
of width.
40 billion.
Why didn't it pause? What is happening with Chrome nowadays? I click, sometimes nothing happens. Okay, miles wide, it's very deep, it's straight from here. Like, look at it, you don't have to, like, it's straight. So, yeah, why not use this one? It's just, I guess, because it's a piracy or something, like it's far away. Indonesia can't govern. Is that it? I don't know.
Billion US dollars. The third major strait is the Ombai-Wetar, between the island of Timor and Wetar. This passage is extremely deep, making it favorable to the ultra-large crude carriers.
Oil
Indonesia
tankers?
is a vital player in the world's seaborne trade. Its straits effectively act as valves, connecting and potentially halting the flow of goods between the Pacific and Indian Oceans. This gateway role is also important in explaining why the US and China have turned to Jakarta in search of an ally for their ongoing geopolitical competition.
Yeah, all right.
Being the center of the Indo-Pacific region, Indonesia is also at the crossroads of multiple and often conflicting goals of some of the world's largest powers. By far the most influential in this region, China has pushed for the expansion of its economic and diplomatic influence through the Belt and Road Initiative since 2013. As its land section unfurls.
That is so true. Once they start that Pakistan thing, is it working? What is happening with that? That is the one, right? Like using Pakistan's port, they skip all that. They can just go from, then again, like they have to transport anything from mainland to all the way to Pakistan, which is like they have to use train, because most of the China is, like populated in this side, not the other side where Pakistan is. They have to go through mountains and shit because it's very mountainous. If they can figure that shit out, like they don't have to worry about Indonesia, I guess.
Through Central Asia all the way to Europe. Its maritime version covers the whole of Southeast Asia, the Middle East, and Africa. From a Chinese perspective, it is essential to bound Southeast Asia to the BRI, both as Beijing looks to create a favorable diplomatic and security environment around its borders, and to bolster its territorial claims in the region, especially on the hotly contested South China Sea. Indonesia has formally adhered to the Maritime Belt and Road Initiative, and China has been its largest trading partner since 2013.
I mean, yeah.
In 2019, this trade had a value of around 72 billion US dollars, and now
big.
accounts for 43% of Indonesia's foreign trade.
That's a big number. To put it into account, India and US's business number is about 60 billion. That's all India and USA do business. Very Trump put tariffs on. It might not feel a lot, but it's still a lot. 60 billion. See, sometimes numbers warp people. Oh, it's $4 trillion economy. What is 60 billion? Yeah, it's still something. It's still going to be felt. Right? That's not how countries work. It's a big number. Okay, USA puts $1 trillion into defense. What is 60 billion? Yeah, it's kind of big. So it's like sometimes when you see numbers, it's like, oh, you're a billionaire, you have $1 billion. Yeah, it's nothing. I know Elon Musk has 200 billion. Yeah, but it's still $1 billion. Like, numbers are really hard to understand when scale gets bigger.
By comparison, that's almost the equivalent to its combined trade with the US, Japan, and India. The rise of China's economic and military clout has shifted the global balance of power towards Asia. America had been mostly focused on the Middle East for the majority of the late 1990s and 2000s.
I think it's India-Japan trading that counts for 9%. Otherwise, why would India go there? Who's there to trade? It's Japan probably, South Korea, Samsung's. People don't think of South Korea when they think of India relationship. But let's get this one thing straight. A lot of Korean things are in India. A lot. Hyundai's, right? The Kias, all Samsungs and LG, and God knows. Samsung is the biggest one. There is nothing that even if you're sitting right now in USA, let alone India, look left and right, there's probably going to be something Samsung there. Even your phone screen is probably Samsung. The RAM inside your laptop is probably Samsung. Yeah, the ship that brought you all your goods, it is a high chance it's also Samsung. So yes, South Korea is big one. Japan, India, like business is insanely big. I build factories and things. I'm a builder, right? Way too many Japanese factories and Japanese people that comes from Japan with meeting and everything, right? Like there's a lot of Japanese thing. China is slowly increasing as well when talks about factories here, but Japan is the biggest one in past 15 20 years. One of the big reasons why Modi was elected, nobody talks about it, but I know this because I'm in his state where he was chief minister. The biggest reason why Modi was elected as prime minister in the first place, because state of Gujarat is like the industrial state which had insane growth. But the big reason is Japanese factories. Japan put way too many factories here. Right now, the most vehicles that the most vehicles that are in Japan right now that's being sold, most of them are made in India and many other things. That wasn't the case just 5-10 years ago. Now is the case.
Outsourcing its commitment to Southeast Asia through its ongoing relationships with major regional partners, such as Australia, Japan, and the Philippines.
Very weird angle, man.
This largely changed under the Obama administration's Pacific rebound, and famously,
very weird angle, but very awesome angle because this gives you perspective. Look at that Australia, that's China, everything. Look at it in the middle, Indonesia and shit. Damn.
coy pivot to Asia, which was bolstered under the Trump and Biden administrations. As part of this, Indonesia was one of the few Southeast Asian nations to receive the green light from the U.S. State Department to receive American weaponry. The United States also holds numerous military exercises with Indonesia, including the most recent, 2021's Garuda Shield, which was the largest ever between the two countries. Conflicting foreign powers' interests have become the norm in Southeast Asia, as the area yet again becomes the focus of competing defense policy agendas from major powers eager to project their influence over each other's backyard.
Or Australia is projecting something. All right, I didn't know that. Australia is like most of the Indian Ocean and Pacific Ocean is open to it. Australia doesn't need anything at that point. What is that? North Korea? What is that? Or is it South Korea? What are you showing there? Like, I don't know. Wait a minute. What is it? Is it Japan? Oh, it's Japan. Oh, this is China and India. Is India doing that? Like India has Indian Ocean. There's a reason why it's called Indian Ocean because it's just there. That's why it's named Indian Ocean. So India has the entire Indian Ocean. Somewhat trade sure. I think China is the biggest one that's like competing because they have to. China is one of the biggest power right now and they need transportation.
Indonesia, strategically placed at the center of this region and the Indo-Pacific, yet vital to its access, is in prime position to exploit this reality as its importance only grows over time. Indonesia needs to bolster its own capabilities to avoid being used as a puppet in a foreign power rivalry. If a conflict between the US and China ever visits this region, securing Indonesia's cooperation could drastically tilt the strategic balance in favor of its allies.
So true. If China says Indonesia is mine, not says, sometimes I have a hard time explaining things because, I don't know, I'm tired or whatever. But if Indonesia and China's relationship gets so good that they're military partners, that's a problem. Why? Because let's say India, even though India is like have better relations with China now in just literally past week because of like Trump says tariff, India and China is not really buddy, right? Like India is a democracy, China is not. So in the end of the day, democratic values where India is focusing more freedom and shit like that. So in the end of the day, if Taiwan gets attacked, I don't think India is going to be in the favor of China. It doesn't matter how good relationship is, right? Taiwan and India already has good relationship because of this. So if Taiwan gets attacked, India is probably going to be, you know what, I'll help out. That's what India is going to do. It's just this. And also like the border skirmish is still there. So it's in India's benefit as well. Because Taiwan falls to China, China could say, oh, I can do the same thing to India and try to take Arunachal Pradesh and things like that. So there's like a thing behind it. But if Indonesia is with China, Indonesia can just block Indian ships or anything Indian related. India is not going to attack mainland trying to protect Taiwan. They have to go to Taiwan. So this is the whole thing, right? Just ships could be blocked. So if USA needs some kind of like a support from India, Not Indian Navy support, but land support. Like, okay, maybe I'll coordinate something from India or close to India. They can't do that now because Indonesia are blocking them. So they have to do something from Pacific alone. And how they're going to do that? It's like probably Japan, South Korea, but like they need something more. Russia's just there, probably going to help China. So yeah, Indonesia is going to be key if they need any support from India or any other allies, right? From European allies. But how are they going to do that?
Potentially, Indonesia has the size and a favorable geography to turn itself into a major regional naval power. Two main policies have created the bedrock of Jakarta's maritime strategy. The first of this is the Global Maritime Fulcrum, a tangible government plan to boost Indonesia's maritime power. And the second is the Archipelagic Vision, a cultural movement that seeks to support Indonesia's archipelagic national identity. The Global Maritime Fulcrum was a foundational policy of the current president, Joko Widodo's first-term election. This policy is essential to solidifying Indonesia's strategic value.
I mean, this should have been the case anyway. Like, Indonesia's biggest strength should be its navy. So just like make that stronger.
Between the Indian and Pacific Oceans, and acts as a catalyst for building major regional maritime dominance. Of the 5 pillars laid out in the GMF, 3 focus on domestic affairs, while 2 stress the necessity of first, expanding maritime cooperation with other countries, and second, the buildup of its naval capabilities. The Indonesian Navy, also known as TNI, have planned a major overhaul of its capabilities through the Minimum Essential Force policy, aiming to become a green water naval power by 2024. Indonesia possesses the 6th largest exclusive economic zone in the world. With its over 6 million square kilometers of water space to patrol, Indonesia's primary security threat has always been the challenge of administrating its numerous
That would be 4 million miles, I guess. What did he say?
Over 6 million square kilometers of water.
So that's 4 million square miles? Oh, wait a minute, can you do that? I don't know, something like that.
Space to patrol. Indonesia's primary security threat has always been the challenge of administrating its numerous territory and population, dispersed over such a fractured landmass. Beyond issues of nationhood and diplomacy, this has a heavy real-world cost. For example, it is estimated that illegal fishing costs Indonesia's economy around $3 billion per year.
What?
And its piracy is such a critical issue that Indonesian waters have accounted for around 20% of global piracy attacks in 2017.
I mean, look at the area. It just makes sense. Like it's like saying like there are many like guerrilla attacks or like I don't know like some kind of like wild attack if you live in a jungle. Yeah, look at it's more water than it's land in Indonesia. It just makes sense. There's a reason why Havana, all that shit was part of old piracy, like Blackbeard type of shit. What was the fucking island that they were there? Like, there's Havana and whatever, I forgot the name. So you know those islands, island type of chain island type of thing. So it's just easier for pirates to be there and do piracy and ran away. It just makes sense why piracy would be a thing here.
17. Piracy has also spilled beyond Indonesia's domestic security, to the point where it has been a major issue in Jakarta's relationship with Australia for years. Many analysts agree that Indonesia lacks a force capable of performing basic surveillance and reconnaissance of its vast internal waters, let alone projection far from its shores.
Okay.
A major reason for the country's lack of capable military is rooted in the government's staunch policy on non-alignment. For example, the country operates a blend of NATO, Russian, and even Chinese-made military equipment. American F-16s operate alongside Russian Su-30s and Su-27. And even armed
Su-30s are good. This like F-16 type thing. It's not that old, depending on which mark it is, but they're good. F-16s are good. But how do they do that? How do they train at Su-30s and F-16 as well? Like they're very different. Ukraine had that issue. Like they were like, oh, we're going to give them F-16. Okay, but they need to be trained. Isn't that confusing a bit? Like, oh, this is like Sukhoi, this is like F-16. Like, okay, they're different.
Chinese CH-4 UAVs. All these machines use different ammunition and parts for repair, causing their use at an operational level to be complex and expensive. This is a cost the Navy cannot afford, as continuously constrained budgets have already forced it to adopt a policy of prioritizing small upgrades on increasingly older vessels. For example, the bulk of its large vessel fleet is composed of 5 Ahmadiyani-class frigates, built around the 1960s in the Netherlands, and the latest addition in the service surface fleets are decades old, decommissioned South Korean Navy corvettes. It is hoped that the proposed Green Water Fleet will solve both issues, unifying the
Okay, you can't against piracy. Maybe you can use this, sure, but like a geopolitics or like any war or anything like that. Let's say you have to fight China for some reason. None of this shit gonna fly. Who else you have to fight? Why would you fight? I don't think Australia is gonna fight, but you might have to fight Australia. Australia's Western tech, probably American tax or something. Who else is left? India. You're never gonna fight India, but let's say India, like that's not gonna work either. Japan, yeah, it's not gonna. So, yeah, I don't know. This for piracy is great. For anything else, like you need to upgrade it, man.
state internally and allowing it to finally grow influence in the region. Indonesia's state ethos is intertwined with its maritime projection. The Indonesian archipelagic vision, also known in the country as Wawasan Nusantara, promotes the development of a united and integrated Indonesian nation. The country is physically split into many different islands, ethnic groups, and dialects, making the building of a united nation a vital, yet long overdue aspect of its existence. At the basis of Indonesian archipelagic concept lies the control of its surrounding seas. Waterways are considered as highways that connect the archipelago throughout, ideally making it one big interconnected island. A lack of capable port infrastructure and transportation investment has created deep contrasts between Indonesia's regional economies, exacerbating regional inequality, entrenching
I know Indonesia is mostly Islamic, right? They're Muslim, but is that only Jakarta or everywhere? Because that if it's mostly Islamic, I guess there's going to be less friction because it's going to be easier to like do things. I don't know. They need to build some kind of like underway highways or something, or figure some shit out like that.
underinvestment and keeping regional fractures from closing. Smoothing out this regionalism is in part why President Widodo announced in 2019 that the capital of Indonesia would move from Jakarta, an already overcrowded megacity on the main island of Java, where 60% of Indonesia's population currently lives, to Borneo in 2024. The move comes at a great cost, and the location is certainly not the most convenient. The island is not only relatively unpopulated, but is also shared with 2 other countries, Malaysia and Brunei. Regardless, President Widodo directly cited the strategic value of the new location as the main driving force for the move. And it seems like the costs of moving are vastly outweighed by the strategic value that a more central capital will bring to the country. While on this channel we have mainly focused on external challenges to nations, Indonesia is a country that is shaped by internal division. From the outside, its geography would seem to make it one of the most influential countries on Earth. But in reality, this same geography places limitations on its economic and political development. If Indonesia were to fully implement solid resources, its archipelago state, and naval goals, it would become a major power in Asia. Thanks for watching.
Yep, there you go. Yeah, Indonesia is like really important. Like, I don't think people pay attention to it. This was a really good video because it was just like floating globe that he showed while talking about it. So that globe really gives you perspective, because 2D map is like really weird. You don't see it. But this is like really good because it's literally like a roadblock. Let's just say roadblock. It's literally a blocking of the area, right? Like if you want to go through this, you have to go through Indonesia. You want to do business with Japan, South Korea, China, whatever, go through this, you have to go through Indonesia. That's how it is. So anyone like India, like Europe or something, like if they want to do it, they have to go through like Egypt all the way to here. Otherwise, they have to go through USA and like what is it, Gulf of USA now, and like Pacific, which is like just this video showed. Pacific is like really empty. It's not preferred way to do, go anywhere from Pacific, even though there are a lot of ships that go through it. Usually they want to go from like Egypt and things like that, so it's easier like from Europe to like Egypt to India, and there you go. So Indonesia is really strategic that way. Well, that was Indonesia could be Asia's most strategic country. By channel Kamome. If you like my content, don't forget, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.